Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live event here at the Shed Aquarium. My name is Evan, and I am a senior aquarist here. While I typically work in the Amazon Rising Gallery with all of our freshwater fish, I also have the honor and privilege to work with one of the coolest animals we have here at the aquarium, which is Nickel, our sea turtle. Right now, she appears to be swimming somewhere around the exhibit, but I promise you she will come over here probably pretty soon. So while we're kind of waiting on her, I'll tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. So to celebrate Sea Turtle Awareness Day, which was yesterday in the middle of National Ocean Month, we're here on top of our Caribbean Reef exhibit, where we're going to be doing some feeding as well as training and telling you guys about Nickel the sea turtle's story. So she's a pretty amazing ambassador animal for her species and brings a lot of awareness to her species, we use her to teach people about sea turtles and why they're important for the environment. Well, so while it seems like she's still kind of resting when we're waiting on her, I would like to point out a few other cool things in the exhibit. You might see some small sharks swimming around. You've got a couple here at the top. These guys are called bonnet head sharks, and we actually had a few of them born here at the aquarium last year. So they were behind the scenes while we raised them up and made sure that they were healthy and eating really well. And once they became adults, we were able to move them here back into the habitat with their mom. So that is one pretty cool thing. We've also got a whole host of variety of really cool fish in here, including the tarpon, which are the big, long silver fish that sometimes you'll see swimming below us. We do have a green moray eel, which I don't see right now. Let's see if we can get Nickel over here, though. So we use a kind of slapping response on top of the water to get her to come over. You can see she's starting to swim around. We use this kind of tapping response, which starts a training session with her. So she just grabbed a piece of lettuce that I tossed over there, and hopefully she will turn around. See her taking a breath of air right there. So probably the first thing you guys are going to notice about her is that her back end is kind of swimming up out of the water. And that is because she was hit by a boat many years ago. She was found off the coast of Florida, and she was rescued because she was hit by a boat. So she has this big injury on the back of her shell. She was rehabbed. Here she comes. Now she knows we're over here with some food. So she was rehabbed, and eventually in 2003 she arrived here at the Shed Aquarium. Hi, Nickel. She's very food motivated, so once she knows there's food in the vicinity, she comes over. So you can see right here she's got this big indentation on the back of her carapace, and that is where the boat strike actually hit her. And as a result of that injury, she cannot go back into the wild. So she has a forever home here at the Shed Aquarium, once again bringing awareness to her species. She's just a great animal that people absolutely love. So Nickel is, we're estimating around 25 years of age, and she weighs about 190 pounds. So we're going to be doing a little bit of feeding with her. We've got some greens that we grow here at the aquarium. Nickel eats about 5 heads of lettuce every single day. I know that's a lot of food. We actually grow some of it here at the aquarium, but she loves a variety of like leafy greens, romaine, and then she also has some that she occasionally eats. I've got some mustard greens right here. We'll see if she goes after those. Sometimes she can be a little bit picky. Other times she's really food motivated. And same thing with like bok choy and dandelion greens and things like that. So she gets a huge variety of food and gets fed at least 5 times a day. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about her story. So I mentioned that she was rescued because of a boat accident, but she has this name Nickel. And a lot of people ask, why is her name Nickel? And that is because when she was rescued and they were doing a procedure on her to help her heal, they actually, the staff actually found a nickel lodged in her throat. So she had a nickel in her throat, as well as a boat strike. So she's a pretty amazing animal with an amazing story, because she was able to survive all of that and has been thriving here at the aquarium. So one of the things that we do when we feed Nickel is we actually do some training with her. And we do a variety of training for a variety of reasons. One of the things we do with Nickel is to get her to do some target training. So we'll see if she does that now. Right here I've got a yellow and black buoy that she is trained to come up and touch with her nose. And when she touches it, we offer her a piece of food as a reward. Now this is an important training to do with her, because if we need her to go anywhere in the exhibit, we can use this to make her follow us. And then we also have this big hanging basket right here. So this is connected to a scale, so when we want to get regular weights on Nickel, we can drop this big basket down into the water, use the target here to guide her over the top of it, and then we can lift it up to get a weight on her. So you can see she's pretty good at coming up to the target. And there's a variety of other reasons we do that. We have two platforms, one over here and one on the other side, that we work with Nickel. And sometimes we get her to swim back and forth between the two targets. And we do that to give her regular exercise. We want to make sure that, you know, she's maintaining a healthy weight, that she's maintaining just general health. So we like to do a lot of exercise activities with her as well. One of the other things we do to get her to exercise is actually sink some of her food down to the bottom. So if we can hook up some food to a weight, sink it down, and she will have to use those front flippers to dive all the way to the bottom. As a result of this injury here, she doesn't have a whole lot of movement in her back flippers and tail. She does have some feeling, but not a whole lot. And using her front flippers to dive down also kind of helps her do what sea turtles would naturally do, which is dive down and spend time at the bottom of the ocean. So once again, for everyone who's just joining us, my name is Evan. We're here with Nickel to celebrate Sea Turtle Awareness Day in National Ocean Month. Nickel is our 25-ish-year-old sea turtle that was rescued due to her boat injury. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about some of the different types of training we do. So you can see the slap on the water. She turned around because she heard that audio cue. That's one of her cues to come over, that, you know, she's going to do some training and get fed. And one thing we do with her is some tactile. So we do this. I can lift her head out of the water, take a look at her eyes, take a look at her mouth, make sure she's doing well, as well as do things like holding onto her flippers so that we can check on her flippers, check on her body condition and things like that. We've also been working on handling her tail back here. So she's not the biggest fan of that, so it's still kind of a work in progress. But one of the reasons why we might want to touch her tail is because that's one of the places you can draw blood on a sea turtle. They have a vein that runs into the back of their tail. And if we want to do blood work on her to make sure that all of her levels of her blood are where they should be, kind of being able to hold on to her tail helps us when it comes time to draw some blood, because, I mean, none of us like to, have to get poked by a needle, but doing all this tactile with Nickel really helps us make sure that she is healthy. We can do physicals if there's any procedures that need to be done. The more we interact with her, it builds relationships between her and us. Then she is not fearful or stressed out when we handle her for any sort of procedure we need. So the more tactile we can do with her, the better.
Lauren wants to know, how long did it take her to recognize the training and build the trust of your team?
So we've been doing this particular training for the past couple of years now, where we kind of really honed in on everything we decided we wanted to do. Nickel has always been very friendly with the staff here. Before we started doing more specific training, she would come up to the divers to get lettuce from them. So she's been very comfortable with us for a lot of years, pretty much since she's been here, and it's been almost 20 years that she's been here. But yeah, so we've been working on this for a couple of years now. So you can see she's kind of resting underneath here. Because of her injury, her back end, like I mentioned earlier, is always kind of floating up. And so sometimes she likes to come and just relax. So we've got some pool noodles underneath this platform. She can come and just kind of rest her back. That way she doesn't have to, you know, use a ton of energy to swim around. Yeah.
How far can Nickel swim? So green sea turtles generally.
Yeah, I mean, green sea turtles can swim thousands of miles, and a lot of the species of sea turtles actually will migrate back to the beaches they were born at to lay eggs in the future. So it's an incredible adaptation that they have to be able to swim thousands of miles out into the ocean and then come back during the breeding season to mate and lay eggs. So I think that is one of the coolest facts about sea turtles, and one of the reasons why they should be protected, because some people hunt for those eggs, or animals hunt for those eggs, so it's really important for sea turtles to be able to lay their eggs and have those young sea turtles hatch and swim out into the ocean so that they can return to the areas they were. So the fact that they can navigate you know, thousands of miles in the ocean while I can't get home without a GPS is pretty incredible. So one of the other things people ask is, or that they often see, is sometimes you'll see Nickel sitting on the bottom, and it kind of might look like she is stuck. So she'll use her back end and kind of wedge herself underneath some of the corals or rockwork that we have here in the exhibit. And she does this so that she can sleep. Sea turtles actually, they can hold their breath for up to 7 hours underwater, usually while they're sleeping or resting. Nickel, while she doesn't hold her breath as much because of the fact that she's mostly floating up here at the top, but every once in a while you will see her swimming down at the bottom, and then she'll kind of wedge herself underneath the rockworks. Like I said, people think she's stuck, but really that's just her sleeping or resting, and she can get herself out with ease. So we talked a little bit about some training, we talked a little bit about sea turtles. So one of the other things that Nickel loves is she loves to get her shell scratched. Even though this shell is very hard and, you know, helps protect her from predators, it is sensitive, and they do have feelings all throughout their carapace. Nickel loves to have her back scratched and her sides scratched with the brush. You know, it feels good for her, and she definitely enjoys it. Yeah, is there any questions right now?
How much does she weigh?
So Nickel weighs about 190 pounds. However, sea turtles can get over 300 pounds. So while she is big, they can definitely get bigger than that, which is, if you've ever seen a fully grown sea turtle, it's one of the most impressive things I think I've ever seen. So yeah, Nickel is about 25 years old, which is about the age that they reach sexual maturity. And they actually can live for 70 or more years. So while we estimate her to be around 25, she actually has a whole life ahead of her. And for those of you joining in, the reason why Nickel will spend her whole life here is because she would not be able to survive out in the wild. Just due to her injury and the fact that sometimes, while she can navigate pretty well in here, some of those harder waves and currents she might not be able to swim perfectly with, and or she might not be able to get to her food sources as easily. So we'll see if she likes some of these mustard greens today. Oh yeah. Oh, maybe not. So she is very food motivated, which makes the training that much better. Yeah, see, she's kind of spitting it out. Some days she likes mustard greens, some days she doesn't. But the fact that she's so food motivated, it really works to our benefit when we're doing the training with her. And like I said, the reasons why we do the training is not only to give her some enrichment and you know, keep her active and engaged, but also so that if we ever needed to do anything like a physical or get a weight or do some blood work, or, you know, just building relationships with her, she's really, really great.
Are there any plans to get her a companion in our sea turtles?
So I don't know if there are any plans to get another sea turtle right now. So pretty much every sea turtle you see at a zoo or aquarium will be a rescue. Because of the fact that, you know, these animals might be injured and might not be able to survive in the wild. So a lot of times you'll see them at aquariums that might also have similar injuries from boats or things like that. But sea turtles, they're not necessarily super social. I've worked with multiple green sea turtles together, but generally you have to have the same gender. So if we were to get another one, it would have to be female, just due to breeding regulations and laws. But yeah, so they're not too social though when it comes to that. They spend a lot of their life swimming in the ocean, kind of on their own, making their own way.
Does she have a favorite green?
Yeah, so she loves the romaine. She also loves the leafy greens. We grow this one here at the Shed Aquarium. I apologize, I don't know the exact type of greens. Mom, if you're watching this, you'll be disappointed. I apologize. But she does love leafy greens and romaine. Yeah, and then like mustard and bok choy, she's not always the biggest fan of. So yeah, she does get fed 5 times a day. We do 5 training sessions with her every single day, and we try and do a variety of things. Like I said, sometimes we might be working more with her target, and we're hoping one day to be able to use a target so that she can dive down, which would be really fun. And once again, that kind of helps with her exercise and just you know, getting her off the surface so that she's not always just floating at the top.
How long have you been a trainer, and what other types of animals do you work with?
So I have been working with nickel for the past probably close to 2 years now. But I also work with our arapaima over in the Amazon Rising Gallery. If this were a National River Day, I would say nothing but arapaima because they are my favorite animal and I love everything about them. But we actually do something very similar with our arapaima. So we have a target similarly constructed like this, and we have 3 arapaima that will each come to their own individual stations. And they recognize their target and they will come to their station, and we do that so that we can monitor and make sure that they're getting all the proper amounts of food. So that's one of the main animals I work with. We also have some stingrays that we do some enrichment with as well, which has been really fun to learn and work with. And yeah, we actually have a variety of freshwater Amazon river turtles as well. So the river turtles, they're actually similar to nickel, except they're found in the Amazon River. They do, while they have more like feet rather than flippers, they do pretty much spend most of their life in the water as well. So it's cool to get to work with freshwater turtles and sea turtles, because even though they're very different animals, they're similar in a lot of ways. So,
how do sea turtles get their water?
How do they get their water?
Yeah.
It's actually a good question. So sometimes when you see her take a bite of food, she'll actually spit the water out through her nose. I'm actually not, I think they get most of their water from the vegetation that they eat. But I'm not actually 100% certain on that. So yeah, if you see her, sometimes she'll kind of spit some water out of her nose as she's taking down, because she's not necessarily drinking that salt water. So I imagine they probably get most of it from their food sources.
What predators do they have to watch out for in the wild?
Honestly, when a sea turtle is fully grown, there's not a ton of predators that they have to watch out for. As they're, juveniles, I mean, when they hatch, they're very, very tiny. They swim into the ocean. The biggest thing they have at the beginning of their life is different types of seabirds. So when a lot of birds know when they hatch, and will go pick off individual turtles that are hatched. So if they make it into the ocean, when they're growing up, basically any larger fish like sharks might be a predator for them. And things like that. However, a turtle the size of nickel probably doesn't have too many actual predators, but the biggest threat to sea turtles, especially adults, is actually boat strikes and pollution. So sea turtles some sea turtle species eat jellyfish as a pretty regular food item. If there are plastic bags in the water, sometimes sea turtles will mistake those for jellyfish and actually eat them. And there have been sea turtles to be found with lots of plastic bags lodged in their throat and their stomachs, and that's because they mistake it for sea turtles. So pollution is one of the biggest threats to them when they're older, as well as potentially getting injured from human activities and boat strikes. Because when you're looking in the ocean and the sea turtles got their dark shell near the surface of the water, they can be tough to see, especially if you're zooming past on a boat. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming out to the Facebook Live to talk about nickel and get to see get to see how cool she is, and it's just great to work with her every single day. We're happy to celebrate Sea Turtle Awareness Day in the middle of National Ocean Month. Once again, my name is Evan. I'm one of the senior aquarists here, and I have the privilege of working with Nickel, who decided she's done with us for right now. And I just would like you guys to, if you want more information, you can join Surge, which is Shedd's new Earth-friendly email and newsletter, which you can get stories and tips to learn about any actions you can take to help some of our amazing animals, like our ambassador animal Nickel, as well as others that we have here in the aquarium. Thank you so much.